Hello, and welcome back to the Sometimes Serious Sunday Show, the show that I hate and will kill. And even though every decision on this show has to be unanimous between the co-founders, I'm not going to listen to his opinion on this one. It's dead, it's dying. I'm going to take it out back of the barn and do naughty, naughty things to its very lifeless corpse. Anyway, hey guys, how you doing? I'm joined by obviously Menzies and Reese. Hello.
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 So, wow,
I'm a,
there was some interesting stuff this week that we didn't get to talk about in the podcast. Do you guys hear about the controversy that happened with League of Legends?
No.
I think
Uh,
vaguely.
The League of Legends European Championship, the LEC,
Mm-hmm.
decided to sign a lovely sponsorship deal with a company called Neom. And
Right.
Neom, fair enough, big sponsor, cool. Neom are supported quite heavily, if not directly funded by the Saudi Arabia government. So, a game that's quite open about supporting LGBT then was sponsored and happily accepted a sponsorship funded by a country that prosecutes, convicts, and kills LGBT.
Oh, wonderful.
Um.
Yeah.
Dear God.
Yeah, it's quite a wow. Really? There is good news though. The heroes came forth. All of the casters and on-screen talent and people who worked behind the scenes of the LEC, the people who actually, host their tournaments, it was dropped on them about like 2 days, 3 days before the first stream was going to start. So it came out of nowhere. It was just dropped on them. They weren't consulted. It was just dropped on them. They internally talked amongst themselves, and a day before the actual, like the first stream, they all unanimously said to League of Legends, you either deny that sponsorship and end that contract with them, or none of us will appear and none of us will go and do our jobs. It took 24 hours for League to respond by going, "Yep, we dropped our sponsorship. We've cut the deal with them." Just because
That was
all of the
quick.
talent just dumped them and just went, "No,
Gone.
we will not appear back on camera until you end this relationship." Which, yeah,
It's fair.
Yeah, that's absolutely understandable.
there are a fair amount of people who work in the talent who are LGBT or very openly supportive of LGBT. So this was a massive blow to them when the deal was accepted, and then they obviously, I like mad respect to them because they actually put their careers on the line. If this had gone the other way, League could have fired them and they never would have worked in the industry again because no one would have re-picked them up if it had gone wrong. No one would have picked them up. So they mad respect. They put their careers on the line. They put their money where their mouth was.
Yeah.
The other the other big one that I say big one, it's more like a slow, wet leak. Kind of it kind of just feels like after we had the load dropped in our pants from Microsoft Showcase, there's just been this wet trickling sensation running down the back of our legs, and that's been the Halo Infinite leaks.
Oh God.
That was such a beautifully put way. I love it.
As quick as you
See.
get some tissue paper, wipe it up, and then present the tissue paper to you, the listeners. It was leaked ahead of time that the multiplayer will be free to play and will run at 120 FPS. Thoughts?
Honestly, it's a smart decision.
For
You want to
getting
elaborate?
players, yes, it is a smart decision. But I disagree. I think it's awful. But please, if you
Really?
think it's great, go ahead, please.
Well, I'm thinking it's a good decision purely because one, it's kind of what Call of Duty have done. If as long as the multiplayer is free to play, more people are playing their game. Therefore, they'll probably make more money even if like no one actually did buy that game. Since if it's like, let's be honest, there's going to be some form of microtransactions, whether it is cosmetics, like how Call of Duty's doing it, how it's cosmetic based and then battle pass. They'll probably make their money from that, and they'll probably make a good chunk from it. And honestly, it will probably get more players into the game, and it would actually generate a lot of goodwill with players and people who are just looking at the game. Since you don't have to buy the game now, you can just play it. Since let's be honest, none of us actually like the new Call of Duty, but yeah, we have it, we've played it. It is generally a better idea. Because what would you rather have? A game that you paid, bought, and then don't like it, or would you rather have a game that you could just download for free, play it, and just tell it from then?
Okay, so Menzies, you think the opposite? Go counter.
Okay. While it's good for bringing players in, and yes, technically it would bring in an amount of money. I'm not going to necessarily say more because of how the community has reacted to the look of Halo anyway. But because it would bring in money from all the people that would play and buy packs, etc., maybe even buy the game, the issue is the game itself. Okay, it's free to play, it's free to download, excellent. So you're going to get a lot of people that initially download it. If that game is not good, you're going to get a lot of people that immediately walk away from it. There's a lot wrong with the game, according to the community, and much of what I've read I agree with. It does look horrendous, in my opinion. And if a lot of the community feel that way, even with a free multiplayer that they'll go ahead and they'll download, they'll go, well, this is trash, and immediately walk away, meaning that they won't get that money. So what they need, instead of trying to do a whole free multiplayer gimmick, is to actually give a game.
Well, the thing is this, which now I'm gonna say, yes, the game looks terrible. I won't deny that, but there's a difference between actually looking at the game and playing the game. You've not played it. I've not played it. People who are at home listening haven't played it. We all don't know what it's gonna be like. There's a difference between looking at the game and then actually playing the game. It could be the best thing ever. It could be the worst thing ever. We don't know. We need to wait until it comes out for free, or when the beta comes out, or something of the sorts.
I I will quickly interject for the money aspect. It is rumored to be a battle royale. The free to play component is going to be a battle royale,
Mm.
so they're going to go Warzone. So the thing to note there is, as an arrogant, egotistical person once said, he was actually right about this though. In any given genre, there's room for three titans, two to three really big ones, and then everyone else is picking up the crumbs. I think the battle royale genre already has its titans. I don't think Halo will be able to get in on that, so they're
Mm.
going for crumbs, unless they're going to dethrone Fortnite, which I doubt.
Doubt.
Yeah.
And
'Cause
the other side of it is this is complete rumor and speculation, but I have heard rumblings that this is about to be the most expensive game ever made. I'm hearing that the budget for Halo Infinite is 500 million.
Well, it certainly didn't go to the graphics department, I'll tell you that.
Well, that's the thing. There's a good chance they won't make their money back.
Yeah.
Probably won't. If it's
That
becoming the most expensive game ever made.
See, but then aren't they, or weren't they treating it like a live service?
I
Because if
I probably think the battle royale component is going to be treated that way. Yeah,
Yeah, it's most definitely going to be treated like a live service.
how long would it take for them to make that money back? If they're just not dethroning
Yes.
Fortnite successful, but just successful.
depends what you mean by just successful.
Popular enough to keep the servers switched on,
Then
and a bit more.
then the next three Halo games will come out before they make their money back.
So, basically, if this game goes ahead and costs that much money, they're dead. they've managed to successfully kill the franchise because, hey, do you remember that game that they poured so much money into and nothing happened? Congrats.
I'd be curious to see how much of the sales. I know this is getting off topic about it being free to play being good or bad. Um, I'd be curious to see how much they make on actual sales, because how many people do you think that are going to pick up Halo Infinite are just going to get Game Pass instead?
You know what? I was just about to bring this up. I was just about to say, what about Game Pass? Because Halo Infinite, they've said already, day one Game Pass. And if you buy an Xbox Series X, you get Halo as a launch title and Game Pass.
So it makes me
So
wonder if
how
they're
much is this
what's.
going to be from Game Pass?
I don't think they're going to make much money. I mean, okay, Game Pass is great. It'll allow people like us to be able to go, hey, maybe I will give it a try. But I don't have to throw any money in their specific direction.
I mean, you're still technically throwing money in their direction because each time you pay for your Game Pass, you're throwing money at Microsoft, who own 343.
Yeah, but
There's
I'm
there's
not.
also the other external factor of the big boss, Jason Schreier, because he has announced he is doing an article on 343. And when he comes in with an article, I think that will actually damage sales.
Yeah. Because it's when he says, I am going to publicly, we say, I am going to publicly make an article about X developer, in this case 343, you know, shit's about to hit the fan.
So, anyway, that wandered off topic. Do you guys have anything more to add or rebut about the good or bad free to play?
It's the good point about it being free to play is it's free to play. More people will get to try it. Maybe they'll make more money. The bad point
Uh,
is it feels like they've put too much focus into that and not enough into the game, meaning that I don't think they'll actually make anywhere near as much money as they need or want.
mm. Yeah, I kind of agree with that somewhat, where it's the same with Call of Duty Warzone. I can't play it. I can't play the multiplayer aspect purely because when all the resources and all the money they've made has just went straight into the VR. Not really went into multiplayer or anything. It just went straight to VR. They're trying because that's where the money is. Because everyone has access to it. You don't actually need to own COD. You could just download it. You have the game. So then people are gonna want customizations because then you customize your character, and then the battle pass or things of the such. So I don't know really. It could be good. It could be a bad thing. It's good for the VR side, for the people who like that. It's bad for everyone else, like who enjoys just normal multiplayer, like deathmatch, griffball, or anything of the such, because they'll probably not get as much content thrown their way. Hopefully, I'm wrong, but that's the trend I've seen.
Before we wrap up, there's one thing I'd like to leave everyone with, and then we'll end. So they confirmed, like 343 did confirm that the multiplayer would be free to play and that it would run at 120 FPS. Now the campaign, they confirmed it would run at 60 FPS. Why? Campaign's more of a linear experience, way less going on, way more enclosed
Hmm.
space. You've got way more control over what the player sees and does. So you would have higher
I don't.
performance in the linear closed off experience.
I immediately went to just being helpful for the player because you're not gonna be. It's not gonna be that as technical, or we like I said, we don't know how fast the game's gonna be, so it could be really slow, it could be really fast. So you might need, just that extra bit of smoothness or extra FPS just to help you in the multiplayer rather than single player. Because let's be honest, single players in Halo games have been fairly easy. Besides two, that everyone kind of says two is just normally really difficult. Wasn't really. I don't know. That's actually
But
a strange one.
yeah, that argument doesn't
That's
make sense. If you've got the ability to go to 120 FPS in the
makeable.
multiplayer, you should be having 120 FPS
Yeah,
in
Would
the
that
single
doesn't.
player.
would map size make a difference? Also, if they've dumbed down the graphics for multiplayer but upped them in single player, you can't have 120 FPS for the single player. If the graphics are that good that the machine can't manage to pull 120 FPS for single player, you can't promise it.
You saw the footage, right?
I
Yeah,
know I saw
you
the
saw the
footage, but I'm just
footage.
saying,
But the thing, but
saying.
Menzies, you might actually have a point with the map size because Halo Infinite's campaign is just going to be one giant map.
No, you're fatally misunderstanding how game development is.
Well, the thing is, yeah, I do know that, but just, if you're
Think
not looking
think
at,
thinking about Royale, you get let's assume there's 100 people. You put the 100 people on the map. Now the taxing on the game server has to recognize what every 100 person is seeing and doing. So everything they see has to be rendered, everything everyone sees has to be rendered, and all of the physics that go with it. In the single player, yeah, it doesn't matter how big the map size is. If you're not looking at it, it doesn't exist.
yeah,
They deliberately descale it.
I was just
So
about to say that.
the rest of it doesn't matter. The map
I was
size
just
would
about
not
to,
have an effect.
I was just about to say that. It was just like, well, I was gonna backtrack on myself, but then you rightly did said it for me, so don't need to know.
Yeah, the map size of the Infamous campaign would have no effect because not all of the map is loaded in at
Mm.
once.
I don't know. That seems to be a strange one. Why have it 120 FPS for?
The only
Why
thing I
for the
can think
only
of
60? Hmm?
that I reckon might be the case if the free to play is Series X only.
Hmm.
Ah, that is a good point.
That is a
If it's
point
a
since
Series
the
X
Series X.
exclusive, that would explain why it can run.
Yeah,
That
since the
that
Series
I
X would
think
be more
would kill
powerful,
them.
it would make more sense.
I think if they went Series X only on the free to play, I think that would finish them. How many people aren't going to get a Series X at launch?
I'm not
Quite a
getting a
few.
Series X at launch.
Well, quite a few more than just yourself aren't,
I
given the
know.
current climate. And let's face it, if the Series X gets its free to play and the Xbox One, Xbox One X doesn't, then how annoyed would you be if you were proper hyped for it, you were really looking forward to it? How annoyed would you be that all of a sudden the next generation gets this thing that you don't, that they never actually stated?
I understand it from Microsoft's perspective though, if this is the case, because if they want a big console seller, they want a
Hmm.
game that you go, holy hell, I need to pick up the Series X for this. Halo ain't it. Halo
Yeah,
does not carry that kind of weight,
not anymore at least.
and I still think they think it does, but
Yeah,
it doesn't have that much weight anymore.
yeah. It like they lost that roundabout reach. It's not really you buy Xbox now for Halo. You don't really buy an Xbox now for its games now.
Wow. That'll do us. That'll be long enough for our rantings and ravings about the stuff we missed. Yeah, there were other stories, but let's not run on too long. So, that's going to be it for this week. Thank you very much for tuning in. Tune in next week for another episode of the podcast. Maybe something else. I'm not sure. We're still working on the timeline for another super secret project that we're working hard on. And you guys liked and watched the other that super secret project a lot. So I reckon you'll like this one as well. Just give us some time. We're working on it. And in my humble opinion, it's better than Lord of the Lunchables. It is
I'm
better.
I'm going to say that it's on par because I actually quite like Lord of the Lunchables.
Maybe I'm jaded to Lord of the Lunchables because I spent 3 days writing it, and I spent 3 days writing for 7 minutes of content, so I'm a little jaded to it.
It's bad that I don't even know what even on about the next new secret content.
Good. So that's it from us. Thank you very much for tuning in. Catch you next week. Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye.